Hello and welcome to Meanwhile in the Falklands, our podcast about everything that's going on with FITV and with life in the Falklands. I'm Kyle Nappett.
I'm Thomas Stockton.
And I'm Hannah Newton. My favourite way of saying my name.
There you go.
I love how we do the sound levels before this, and Hannah does her, I'm going to be speaking with this voice, and then even with her name she speaks louder than
exactly. It's ridiculous.
Start as you mean to go on.
Exactly. But we've got plenty of stuff to talk about this week. Paul and Steve are back today. Woo! They're on the flight. They were delayed by 24 hours, but they're on their way with the band.
Well, there's been a lot of stuff, haven't there? There's been a lot of delays on the flights this week.
Lots of sickness. Lots of sick pilots and stuff.
There was norovirus. I thought when I heard this, I was like, oh, norovirus, MPA, outbreak, tabloid, headline, blah, 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 blah. But no, apparently by the sounds of it, firstly there was a tropical storm in Cape Verde, so that delayed a load of the flights. And then there was crew illness and sickness because there was a virus to do with the food. And
on the plane or at
Well, this is what I thought. I spoke to our media ops lady and I thought, oh God, is that the in-flight food? Because would that have been picked up from Bry's or the person who was packing it at Bry's, or where down the chain would it be? Yeah. But she was saying apparently it's the food at Cape Verde in the CAFs and stuff. But
okay.
So we're blaming you, Cape Verde Airport.
I thought we had a case of airplane. Did they all eat the fish?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
So that was that's caused delays on all of the flights.
Should we have warned Paul and Steve not to get anything from the cafe?
I'm really hoping that they're not going to come back contaminated.
Oh God, can you imagine?
God, that would cause awful. So many issues, wouldn't it? But it's one of the biggest nightmares about having 2-3 flights a week to an island. The second something's delayed. How many days delay did they have last week?
5, up to 5. One of them was
ridiculous.
5 days.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And it's difficult as well because you turn up to the airport all ready to go. We've experienced it before when we were going to the Island Games. Turn up all ready to go, and the next minute they're saying, "Oh no, not till tomorrow, not till tomorrow." And they took our bags as well. This is the thing because you put all your bags in the hold and stuff. And then we had to have that in-flight meal in the airport. Do you remember?
That was great.
And plus, weren't you up there at some ridiculous hour as well?
I know, yeah. And we were up with Tom Swells, the managing director of Stanley Services. It was just quite funny, actually, to be honest.
It was a bit of a bizarre
we were all sat
trip.
on the floor eating our meatball in-flight meal because obviously they don't want to waste it.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
And they wouldn't really give us much information. Yeah. And I don't know why airports are always like that. They're always very
imagine
hold back the info.
They don't want people to panic or something like that. Or
I mean, and I get that in general in a very big airport because you've got risk. But we're on a military base.
Exactly.
And there's only one flight leaving today. Just tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was supposed to leave on the Tuesday flight last week, and with it being delayed all the way until Sunday. Yes, that's right, Sunday. The 5 days Hannah just alluded to there. She had to book a new flight through South America and fly up through Chile to get to her holiday in Las Vegas because she was due to go to the UK on her Tuesday flight and she had a Saturday flight from the UK to go to America, to Las Vegas, so she left herself 2 Airbridge flights.
Well, you always do,
there.
Don't you? A buffer of but that wasn't enough. It looks as though she had a good time though, I must admit.
Yeah.
In the 5 days she was delayed, she made sure that she got the most out of the Falklands.
Yeah, she went a little bit everywhere actually. She popped over to the west, she had a great time to the screen.
You've got to just make the most of it, don't you?
Exactly.
Especially if you're delayed and you can't go anywhere.
But it was her departing flight as well. She'd been here 3 years. That was her end of time goodbye flight. And her trip to Vegas and America is her last little bit of freedom because when she gets back to the UK, she has 3 days before she goes to somewhere for her next posting, even more remote than the Falkland Islands.
No.
Give me a guess.
Somewhere in Scotland I'm going to go for.
Okay, you're going to go somewhere in Scotland?
Somewhere more remote than the Falklands.
Smaller and more remote and harder to get to.
Harder to get to. I'm going to say, I don't know, somewhere near Australia.
Off the coast of South Africa, because you've got to the only way to get there is on a boat from South Africa. Tristan da Cunha.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
Just a couple of hundred people on a tiny little island, because the Falklands evidently was too busy for her.
That's another overseas territory, isn't it?
I do think so, yeah.
They've got and I could be wrong, but I think Bass have something to do with Tristan, because a load of their people go there. I know obviously it's not Antarctica or whatever, but they've got some research station there as well or something, because a couple of the guys from South Georgia government were working out there who used to work for Bass and stuff, and quite a few scientists go out there. But
I've never really heard anything about it.
Yeah, no, I think it's got quite a big contractor following. What's she doing out there?
She's essentially the head of the financing department for the entire island.
Oh, wow.
So she worked in the treasury down here. She was part of like the essentially government's accounting system. She was a clog in the wheel kind of thing, whereas now she's essentially running the whole thing.
I always thought she was a nurse. Totally shows how much I know, because I thought maybe she's doing healthcare and stuff.
But to be fair, her friendship group was very much based in the hospital, so I can see
that makes sense.
Going on a little tangent from something you said there, you said Antarctica, which totally made me think of it. Have you seen what's Sunday, first episode? One World, Seven Planet. One planet, seven worlds.
One world,
seven planet. 7 planets, or David Attenborough goes and explores Mars.
Oh my god.
Is it another David?
Oh, that'd be cool.
It. Yeah, so on the BBC this morning, BBC Breakfast, they had the cameraman and producer for the Antarctica bit. So like the Gen 2 penguins being chased by leopard seals, which is something you can see in the Falklands.
Yes,
come on.
Yeah.
But
no, because
so
it's funny you should say. I was my mum's always an avid fan. Who isn't an avid fan of David Attenborough?
The nation's granddad.
Yeah, Mum was reading his biography, and apparently he's got a daughter who keeps trying to stop him from... Because obviously he's in his 90s now, or whatever. He must be in his 90s.
Yeah, 93.
And he still wants to go up these hot air balloons and go and do this and that. And his daughter always says to the camera crew and the production crew, look, can you keep an eye on my dad? And if he wants to do X, Y and Z, tell him no. And he still does it. And I think fair play to him. I'd love to be that age and still as enthused and alive to go and do stuff.
No, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
so excited.
Especially because he's got the opportunities to do all that kind of stuff as well.
And what was it? Was it Glastonbury or was it Reading and Leeds this year where Attenborough came out on stage to advertise the new programme and did a whole speech about climate change?
Yeah.
And genuinely, the roar that he got from like the 100,000 people in the audience was bigger than any band got all day. He is just... And
he's just a national treasure,
he
isn't he?
surpasses generations as well.
Exactly.
Do you know, it's not just like, oh, well, he's for that time and those kind of people. Everyone loves him of all ages, young kids. He appeals to everyone, and I don't think anyone will fill his boots when he goes. Do you know who can you? I know you've got the likes of Michael Palin, who I also quite.
Yeah.
I love Michael Palin as well, but it's not the same. A bit like Parkinson.
Yeah.
Absolutely love Parkinson in our kind of realm of chat show journalism kind of stuff. But you got Piers Morgan.
Oh God!
Do you know,
Can you imagine Piers Morgan?
I saw a great thing the other day, which was you imagine meeting someone, falling in love, marrying them, and then finding out that they think Piers Morgan's funny.
Oh God!
Well, that actually brings me on to say, because I didn't realise that Michael Parkinson is very good friends with Billy Connolly.
Okay.
So you know, in our What's On Guide this week, listener, Billy Connolly has done his last ever stand-up show. It will be screened at the Harbour Lights Cinema, and we had it in the What's On Guide. But it made me think. He's very good friends with Michael Parkinson. Billy Connolly, you know, he's been diagnosed with, it's either Parkinson's or or he's got a terminal illness now. So that's obviously his last ever stand-up show that's going to be screened. But Michael Parkinson said something about Billy Connolly saying, oh look, he's not very good, obviously he's losing his memory and remembering old friends and stuff like this, and his brain, it's such a shame that a intelligent mind is going to waste, which I couldn't believe Parkinson said. Sorry, it's getting a bit gossipy, but Parkinson is the kind of person who's quite tactful when he talks to his guests and stuff, and he's not that. He's not like a Piers Morgan. And apparently Billy and him have had a big fallout over it, which is a shame because they've been lifelong friends for a long time. But it does make you think back, kind of tying it back to David Attenborough. Those intelligent minds. Once they're gone, they're gone. Do you know? And I think we really need to... And it's the same here with the islands where you've got a lot of the older generation to probe them and get as much information and stories as you can out of them before it all goes.
David Bailey would be loving your topic.
Well, it goes.
Getting
well, it ties into your Women of the Falklands exhibition.
Exactly.
I was going to say, you went and covered they had a new exhibition at the museum, didn't they, Carl?
Yes, they did. They've gotten a bunch of stories about all kinds of women that have contributed to the Falklands, whether that be in the past, whether that be in the present. And they've got this whole exhibition. The lovely Paula Fowmes, our boss, is proudly featured in it.
Is she now?
She is.
Timeless classic. She'll be in there for...
Yeah, she's got a whole blurb. She's got her and Connie and Hazel in a little picture. And there's even like a little image of FITV with the Aston bar and everything. Although I will say the Aston bar is awkwardly cut, so it just says Fowmes underneath instead of Paula.
The infamous Fowmes.
The infamous Fowmes.
Well, the last name is obviously more important.
Exactly. But yeah, the museum has this new exhibit dedicated to women in the Falklands, and just celebrating women that have made the Falklands. So
apart from our fantastic boss, are there any off the top of your head you can remember?
Well, there's Jan Sheik and there's Tui Goodwin. There was a couple of people that I can't quite remember. I remember them because I interviewed them because they were there on the day.
Tui
Tui was good. Yeah, and
what was Jan Sheik up there for?
well, all of her work with the MLAs and all of her work with like just government and all that kind of stuff. So she was being celebrated for that, and then there was Kathy Byles was on there talking about her work with the church. Suki Cameron, obviously, talking about.
But it's funny because when you think of like people in history and they've done these great things, you don't hear much about women that have done great, especially in the Falklands. Like when I came here, I was like, oh God, is there going to be enough people to put on this exhibition wall? Because you don't hear much about it. You hear about kind of ex-governors and politicians and da-da-da. But it brings us on quite nicely to the service that we covered on the Wednesday night, which was for Lady Hasgard, Sir Rex Hunt and
her husband
Cosmo, Mr. Cosmo, Sir Cosmo, two ex-governors and his wife.
Yes,
but she actually had quite a vital
She had
part.
loads of stuff to do with the Falklands. She at one point there was This is back in the 1960s, I want to say. When Cosmo Hasgard was governor of the Falklands, she was running messages between the UK government and him and all sorts and encrypting stuff. So that because there was a small conflict and territorial dispute with Argentina, so she was like encrypting messages and all sorts. And
an imitation.
Exactly.
Well, it was because he was away, wasn't he?
Yeah,
or something. He was out the island, so she stood in as deputy
governor or something like that.
Almost. Yeah. But they had a really nice service, didn't they, at the Christchurch Cathedral, where they had these plaques that were unveiled and all the MLAs and people were there and they did some really good speeches as well about these
some
governors
lovely readings.
I didn't know anything about them.
Neither did I.
So it was quite interesting.
Although with a name like Cosmo Hasgard, you know he's got an interesting life.
Exactly.
Well, before we move away from the museum bit here, speaking about it, and you're talking about influential women as well, I mentioned David Bailey, one of the local historians, his A2, the really big pamphlet that he did on the Falklands involvement in World War I has come out, and it's titled "The Germans Are Coming," and that is actually a quote from a celebrated Falklands woman in history who flagged down the fact that the German ships were coming past the Falklands, and she's the one that picked up the phone and rang Government House, and the iconic phrase is "The Germans are coming." So that was another woman in history. Even though apparently she didn't spot the ships. There was a young farm boy who did spot the ships and came running back to tell her, and she picked up the phone, and he would run off, go see more, and come back and tell her, and she would pick up the phone. So the young farm boy did all the work, but she picked up the phone and relayed the message.
Yeah, she ended up getting
the name of the young farm boy.
Yeah.
And she ended up getting like an MBE and a silver teapot and all sorts, and he got. I don't even know if
no recognition.
No one knows who he is. Yeah.
I don't even know if they told him good job.
No, his name got lost in the history books. We just know it was a young farm boy, and she got all the recognition for it. But in all fairness, like it's about what it did more than anything.
No, exactly.
I love little stories like that. That's quite interesting. And I always feel like it sounds awful, but I feel like nowadays in our generation, nothing like that really happens. That's that exciting, or do you know? With us,
but do you think it's also because we're in like the longest known peace? I say peace. There's not a lot of peace around the whole world, but not a lot of peace in our neighbours Chile at the moment.
But we've been brought up in the UK, and then we've also got. We're here, and I'd like to. I feel relatively safe. Do you know? There's nothing
it's almost a sheltered lifestyle.
Nothing that shocking.
But then you've got
like
the people protesting in Hong Kong, people protesting in Chile, and people that protest in the US, and even in the UK when people are coming for like the climate change events and stuff like that. People are getting out there and doing stuff.
It's just we're not.
We're not.
That's like my TV crew. We just sit here and drink cups of tea and eat biscuits and record podcasts.
Sponsored by Teabury Cafe.
Yes. Thank you for the lovely coffees. But me and Tom were out and busy at the weekend because there was the annual Stone on Half Marathon. We were unfortunately not taking part because fortunately because we're far too lazy for that. But there was 30, 40 people there.
Yeah, it was less than last year, unfortunately. But there was still a good contingent of people, and it's
and you couldn't have asked for better weather for that either.
Oh, absolutely. it was extremely windy, so much windier than last year. But fortunately, it was a westerly wind.
Did it blow them to the finish line?
It was a westerly wind, so it was in their back, and so it was really good. I must say, I'm disappointed in myself for not staying to film the first woman over the line. We were a little bit tired on Sunday morning.
A little bit under the weather.
Yeah, and it slipped my mind completely. So we got the first two gentlemen coming over.
It was a new winner, wasn't it?
Yes,
it wasn't a person or a runner that we've seen before.
No, it wasn't.
Which is nice.
It was a woman who picked up running due to she met her current boyfriend down here, who's an avid runner. He came third in the Stone Run half marathon, but she picked up running about a year and a half ago, as a form of it was mainly for mental health as much as anything else, and it was a big thing he did. So she picked up as a common interest and a hobby. And Amanda Kupfer from the Seabird Observer from the Fisheries Department won her first ever half marathon at the weekend.
Done.
So massive congratulations to her.
That's good. And the male winner as well was a new winner too, wasn't he?
I was going to say, because he's I can't remember his name, but
Julian Cousins.
Julian Cousins, but everyone refers to him as JC. I remember that part.
JC.
But
you had a lot of involvement.
I had a lot of involvement with him because I was out covering the front runners.
I noticed this when I was looking through the package. There was a lot of little waves and this and that. I thought,
every time he went past, he was waving to me and trying to have a chat and saying, "Oh, you again? This is getting awkward." He was very, very funny, and I thought it was amazing because when we had an interview with him, I was like, "Oh, have you done much training?" He's like, "Not really. I was drinking last night." And just
I'm gonna put this out there, and listeners probably won't know what I'm talking about. But I was gonna say, if you guys will know, are we gonna possibly say that he could be the new Tim Ross?
Ooh. I don't know if he's in the islands for long
Tim
enough.
was a runner that was with us. How many? 4 years?
Yeah.
Down here from the Orkney Islands, and he would always be run, and he'd always be smiling, waving, trying to chat. Never looked like he broke a sweat.
No.
Nothing.
I mean, I would like to think so, but I believe JC is from the Mount Pleasant base, so he's only here on a small.
Was he only here on a small stint?
He's only on a small rotation. He's trained with doing he's done marathons before, so he's done a lot of fitness training. But as Kyle mentioned, then he
had a very light night.
He was out performing. He did a gig at Mount Pleasant the night before, and it was his commanding officer that said, "I'm running the Stone Run half marathon tomorrow. You should do it as well." He went, "All right then."
All right.
And in his interview it was so funny. He was like, "Yeah, I just ran, and the people at the front were running fast, so I ran with them, and they dropped off, and I just kept going. No idea how I came first."
It's amazing the amount of energy he had afterwards. Because afterwards he was walking around like giving other people water, and he even ran back to meet his commanding officer and come back with him.
Wow.
It was like Jesus.
Yeah, he ran back the last 200 meters to meet his CO and cross the line with him. And then the CO was dying in the corner, and he jogged up, got some water, jogged over. He's like, "All right, guys, how's it going?"
It was like he'd had like a small jog and not a half marathon run.
Duracell bunny kind of energy here.
I'm always so envious of people who can just do that. Do you know what I mean? Who are just like, "I'll do a marathon, sorry, why not?" And I'm kind of like, "Oh God, I can't even step out the front door without being like."
It was a beautiful morning.
It was a beautiful morning.
I did fall asleep for 5 minutes in the car on the job. I had the window down, waiting for some of the the rear runners to catch and film them for a bit. And I had my head out the window, sheltered from the wind, and the sun to my face, and I did doze off for about 5-10 minutes. And it was later on that day, I was like, I did wonder where you went. I haven't seen you in a while.
I would say that ties us quite nicely into next week. I know I'm brushing over a couple of things, so
Yes.
we will go back. But next week on Saturday, we've got
super busy.
the first park run.
Yes, we do.
Which will be slightly smaller. It's
Slightly
5K.
smaller.
So, and it's not a...
And you can run it, you can walk it, you can kind of take it at your own pace. You don't have to...
it's not a race as such.
No.
It is timed, but it's all kind of running together.
It's all for the fun of it. It's all for the fun of running.
Parkrun's a thing that...
Big thing
Well,
in the
it
UK.
happens in the UK,
Huge
doesn't
thing
it?
in the UK, yeah. My stepdad goes out to parklands all the time, and it's ridiculous. The amount of like Saturday mornings when it's like, okay, 8:30, got to be down the park. Then there's huge, massive groups of people
Well, I
that
think
do
it's
it.
quite a social
It
thing,
is, it's
which
a
is nice,
very,
isn't
very
it? They
social
can all
thing,
kind of
yeah.
rile each other up.
And it kind of
Come on,
encourages people to
guys.
keep going back, doesn't it?
Get the morale going. So we'll be down there.
Yeah.
And maybe you could actually do a presenter-led run park.
You're like determined to get me doing
Go
something.
for it, Carl. I think that could work quite well.
I don't know. I'm believing heavily enough in our packages already, let alone running on one. But
yeah. And then
I think worst case scenario, Kyle doesn't want to do a 5k. Hannah.
Hannah can do one.
Good
Hannah,
God.
you're
I'm
super
the most
sporty.
unfit out of all of us. I'm too old for it. Come on, I'm the oldest one. I
please.
can't do that.
Here we go. It's fine. It's a 5k's open to everyone. We will get
Exactly.
your Zimmer frame. That's all right.
To be fair though, some people actually are walking it, so
Yeah.
maybe we could
yeah,
do
we
a
can
little
walk
bit
it.
of
That'd be cool.
Well, there's
Get
the-
some interviews as they're going.
Yeah.
So how often do park runs occur in the UK, and how often are they going to occur here? Because
So-
this is the inaugural one, isn't it?
Yeah, they're weekly in the UK, and I think they want to do them weekly here as well.
Okay.
Let's see everyone drop like flies as the weeks
Well, that's
go
the thing.
on.
Mark Nightingale, who has done a lot of the organisation for Parkland, is really wanting people to go out every week and really wants to make it a social thing that people keep going back to. So I'm hoping that it carries on because it is quite a nice environment to be
Well,
part
we were
of.
looking at last year the couch to
talk as if you've done it
5k. The
yourself.
couch to 5k scheme was
Yeah.
a very big
Yes.
thing down here. A lovely boss, Paula Fowmes, was involved with it for a little bit, and it's
Yeah.
and it's something that a lot of people down here have taken on board to try and actually increase their fitness. So if you can get some weekly 5Ks, that's a way of them sort of, you can do your couch to 5K 3 times a
ticking
week,
on,
you know,
yeah.
and then you'll do your park run at the end of the week and sort of see your time, and then you can
see your
improve.
progress.
it's nice
Yeah.
to see physical progression in front of other people, and it spurs you on. I don't know, I'm personally quite a competitive
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
So the second I get people running fast next to me, it's like, I don't care how much my lungs are burning, I've got to
I'm
go.
doing it. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
But
And then on Sunday we've got, well, actually I've just brushed over it.
Yep.
Saturday night.
the Country Festival.
We're very excited about. We're
So
stressing
excited
about.
about
We've
it.
been
Stressing
stressing
about it.
for the past
We're
couple of
gonna
weeks
be,
about it,
yeah,
haven't we?
we're going to be working on the bar on the night,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been taking a lot of organisation, but we're finally there.
We're getting, very much getting there. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of a frantic morning tomorrow whilst you guys are
Yes.
doing the park run, where I have to get all of the bar stock from Stanley Services to the town hall. So that'll be a bit of a sweaty morning for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my own 5k up
Yeah.
and down those
God.
stairs.
And then on Sunday we've got the
Sunday we've got the
motocross
motocross and then the MPA Open Day.
yeah.
Have you
Which
been
should
to
be
a
a lot
Mount
of fun.
Pleasant Open Day
I have
yet,
not.
Paul?
I've been to Mount Pleasant a couple of times, but I've not been up for the
Oh,
Open Day.
fantastic.
So it's going to be
You
interesting.
get to sit
Apparently
in
they've
planes,
got
and you get to pet animals, and you get to see the dog training bits
Yeah.
and stuff. So it should
I'm
be
looking
good fun.
forward to it. It should be really interesting.
One of my favourite bits has nothing to do with the military at all. Normally Fitzroy Farm are there, and they because they have a lot of involvement with, they have the Key to Bertha's Beach, which is a very big tourist attraction for the people from MPA. So they're normally there, and they normally have a couple of their pet lambs with them
that's
as well
cool.
from this season. So you're basically, the best bit is going over there and holding a lamb.
Yeah.
There's typhoons, there's search and rescue helicopter.
Farm
there's
animals are the best.
Chinooks. Yeah, but the farm animals, that's where
Farm
it's at.
animals are the highlights.
Well, all
No,
the
I'm-
military surround the farm
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, they're used to typhoons and planes and all sorts, so it's something different for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to it.
But
It should be good fun.
but we're going to be filming it in
Yes.
new Mojo kind of techniques that we got taught on
Yes.
Tuesday. Caroline is down with us. She's been down with us now for nearly a month. She's here to organise a country festival primarily, but she's actually been doing some Mojo workshops with us. And she'll say for the listener, Mojo is mobile journalism. So we went out on Tuesday, we went down to the beach and we had to go at different transitions and doing clicky things and doing fancy things. So check out the show this week if you want to see us doing some
It's
cool
gonna
stuff.
be-
We'll pop that video up on Instagram
Yeah.
and Facebook as well over the weekend, I don't
Definitely,
doubt.
that would be good.
It'll blow your socks off.
So we're going to have a go filming it like that.
Yeah, we are.
So Carl and I are going to take over and be presenter lead it together, which should be good fun.
No, I think it'll be good. I think it'll work pretty well doing it that way. It's something a little bit different.
yeah.
Something
Yeah,
a little bit
definitely.
And it's the
experimental.
perfect one to actually
Yeah.
give it a go.
Well,
on.
Exactly.
exactly. Well, we thought because we're doing the motocross in the morning and the open day, we're going to do it almost like the day of filming. Carl and Hannah had a busy day filming at the busy day on Sunday
Fuse
filming.
it all
da, da,
together.
da, and then we
Almost-
can go
yeah.
from and then do clicks and
Almost
go
like
from there
almost
to
like a vlog kind
Yeah,
of thing.
vloggy.
The two of you
Yeah.
saying this was
Yeah.
our
just
our
to see
Sunday.
what it's just to see how it
Yeah.
works and see what Mrs. Fowmes thinks as well.
Oh, that's
Test
fine.
the waters.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
And
But
she'll
she
let-
is an avid Mojo fan.
Yeah, she is.
so-
She is. So I'm
But she's
I'm
also a
thinking
massive
she'll like it.
traditionalist when
I
it
know,
comes to
yeah,
journalism
true.
as well. So combining the new techniques
Yeah.
which she loves with
Yeah.
breaking the traditional way of creating a news package.
We might,
Will be
we
interesting.
might just need to sneak it in there before she notices.
So-
But anyway, I think that's about it for us. So if you want,
So socially, we have some fun stuff.
socially
though.
we have some fun
Got
stuff.
a film we're going to go see. Are you guys excited for the movie on Sunday night?
The Joker.
After our really busy weekend of working, we do have
yeah,
a
it'd be nice
chill
to
day.
It's been mixed
and-
reviews I've
yeah.
seen online. There's been mixed reviews.
Have
Some
you?
people have really been slating it. However, I'm still going to go see it with an open mind because I love Joaquin. He's one of my favourite actors, and they look like they've done it a little bit different. It's not just action and stuff like that. It's a little bit more personal about the characters' progression and stuff. So I think it'd be good fun.
It's a bit more of an artsy kind of film.
And I think a character like the Joker, for his backstory, I think deserves that kind of thing because he's clearly a tortured soul. He's not a supervillain with superpowers or anything. There's a reason why he's like that, and it's interesting, especially in like today's debates about mental health illnesses and the way people are treated within society.
Well, I'm gonna have to do a plug actually for something I watched last night, which was so good. I haven't watched the end of it, so we watched half of it. But have you ever heard of a film called Soulless? It's got Anthony Hopkins in. Absolutely love him. Silence of the Lambs. Anthony Hopkins, great actor. Didn't know if he had an Oscar or an Academy Award or not though. He must do. But it's a film. It's like a detective film about there's been a series of murders, and these two detectives are like, oh, we need to get someone in to come and help us. And Anthony Hopkins plays a old detective who's got these psychological powers where he can touch things and see into the future, see the past and stuff like this. So he goes into these different murder scenes and crime scenes and touches the bodies and touches this, and he can see what's happened. And it's about him trying to solve these series of murders, and he comes up against a guy who's also, the murderer, has also got these powers.
Oh.
So the murderer can also see ahead and see into the future and things like that. Sounds really odd, but it's a thriller. It's a psychological thriller. It's quite dark, but it's really good, and it's got Colin Farrell, who I absolutely love. But it's to do with this guy who's murdering these different victims, but it's these victims have terminal illnesses, so he's putting them out their misery
he's seeing into the future
and their pain. Seeing into the future, seeing their pain and saying, right, I'm going to stop them.
So it's a moral dilemma as well.
Honestly, watch it. Really good. Soulless. I think it came out in 2015. I totally missed it in the cinema and stuff, but I think it might have been a bit of an art housey because it is a bit arty and a little bit.
Okay, so that's Hannah's recommendation.
Watch it. It's so good. No. Very, very worth the watch.
Well, I think that's a lovely note to end on.
Definitely.
Kyle? There we go.
That'll
on that somber note.
On that somber note,
we'll try and cheer you up.
It for us. If you want to listen to more,
Actually, sorry, that ties us in quite nicely to what you did last night.
Well,
on the somber note, let's end on a nice note.
Well, I almost said it, but I was like, is that too much murder?
Go with it.
Never had enough murder.
What did you do last night, Tom?
I was at a murder mystery dinner last night at the town hall, which everyone sort of knows murder mystery dinners. Everyone knows the game Cluedo, and you associate it maybe with a dinner party. But it was in the town hall. There was 9 groups of 6 to 8 people. It was called the Pucker Pie Murder. It was written by a local chap. He wrote it in 2008, and they performed it. It was for the life of me, cannot remember his name, but he does a lot of work with the Seafarers Mission. He's good friends with Morris and Debbie Lake.
Oh, I know.
You know who I'm talking about, absolutely. I can't remember his name, which I feel very guilty about. But they performed it in 2008. Same murderer, but they were hoping that 11 years later
people would forget.
Absolutely. And it was great fun. So you go there and you get one round of everyone. All the actors come and sit at your table, and they tell you, so you're quizzing them and questioning them, and then you have your intermission, and there's food provided, so you have your dinner. Then you get revealed a couple more clues, and then you get a second round of questioning people. And it was quite a difficult one, so much so that they gave each table 3 guesses. And we went through a couple of guesses with like the ones that seemed really logical, and then I had quite an outlandish theory that the woman, the assistant manager of the local supermarket store who was murdered, was actually ready to open up a rival business, and someone else in the store was going to open up that rival business, which was a clue that was revealed in the second half of the in the second act. And I just had this outlandish theory that the person who was doing it, so character played by Lee Summers, saw that the assistant manager was trying to steal his idea, so he killed her with a pucker pie. God. Turns out I was right.
And what did you win?
Well done.
13 pucker pies.
No better pies.
So pucker pie party at Tom's.
Exactly.
Pucker pie doesn't sound like a real word anymore.
No, it doesn't.
I've said it so many times in the last 24 hours. But yes, I'm on a little bit of an ego hype at the moment, being the only person in a hall of about 60 people to have gotten that right. So,
well done.
Just saying, I'm going into this weekend feeling like I'm walking on a cloud.
So when are you joining the police force?
Well, the police were there, and they didn't get it right. So really, really, and they on top of that, they contaminated hazmat suits. They were wearing them. That's bad.
You should go and rub it in their faces when you go to this meeting at 10:30.
I should.
So it genuinely was. It was 3 of the 4 detectives. They were part of the table, and they didn't get it right.
Future detective in the making.
Terrible.
Their questioning skills are awful. That's not anything bad against the Royal Falkland Islands Police. I'm sure they do a fantastic job. Can I just say? My views are my own and not that of FITV.
On that lovely note, I think we'll finish up there. If you want to watch our show, it's on one of the 800 channels. I keep saying we'll figure out which one, but
On my television, it's 803. Yes. So if you want to come to my house,
come to Hannah's house. Watch FITV there. And if you want to find more episodes of this podcast, you can find us on SoundCloud or iTunes. So yeah,
we're gonna have a busy weekend. Hopefully we'll make it through it, and the Country Fest as well. Yes. Hopefully that goes very well.
Come to the Country Fest if you've not already got a ticket.
And wherever you are in the world, have a really nice weekend.
Yes, we will see you next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.